Let me ask you something that might shake you for a moment. What if the pain you're praying for God to remove is the very thing He's using to reveal who you really are? What if the storm wasn't sent to destroy you, but to introduce you to your strength? Think about it. You've cried, you've begged, you've said, "God, please make it stop." And yet it didn't stop. Not because heaven ignored you, but because heaven entrusted you. Maybe the pain isn't proof that God abandoned you. Maybe it's proof that He's building you. So, sometimes God doesn't stop the pain because the pain is the path. And on that path, something is changing inside you, something that comfort could never create. Sometimes life hits you so hard you start to wonder if heaven even remembers your name. You prayed, you believed, you gave your all, and still the door closed. The person left. The opportunity vanished. And in that silence, you ask why? Why would God let the pain happen? It's a question every soul whispers when the night gets too long. But what if pain wasn't punishment? What if pain was permission? Permission for transformation, for awakening, for strength that comfort could never build? You see, pain isn't always the enemy. Sometimes it's the invitation. Let me tell you something. Every destiny has a classroom, and pain is the teacher nobody asks for, but everyone learns from. You can read 1,000 motivational quotes, you can listen to every preacher, but until life cuts you open and forces you to feel, you never truly understand growth. Pain introduces you to yourself. It shows you where your limits are, and then quietly whispers, you can go further. Ask anyone who ever did something great. They'll tell you, I didn't grow on the mountain. I grew in the valley. Because it's in the valley that you stop pretending. It's in the valley that you start listening. And it's in the valley that God starts rebuilding you from the inside out. Maybe you lost that job, not because you were unlucky, but because that chapter could no longer contain your potential. Maybe that relationship ended, not because you were unlovable, but because God was redirecting you toward peace. Peace you would never have found if you stayed. There's something sacred about being broken. Not because breaking feels good, no it doesn't. But because when you're broken, you become transparent enough for light to pass through you. Sometimes the shattering of your plans is the only way light can enter the cracks of your pride, your fear, your illusions. And that's when you begin to see that what looked like destruction was actually construction. When the storm came, you thought it came to destroy you. But what if the storm came to expose what wasn't anchored, so you could rebuild on something real? You can't grow deep roots in shallow soil. So pain digs deep, it uproots your comfort, shakes your security, and says, here, let's start again, this time with truth. The truth is, when everything is good, you don't question much. You assume you're strong, wise, and faithful. But when pain arrives, when life strips away your comfort, you see the truth. You discover what you really believe. You find out who truly cares. You realize how much you've been carrying that you should have laid down long ago. Pain removes the disguise. It humbles the proud. It refines the grateful. And it exposes the difference between what's temporary and what's eternal. So, if you're in pain right now, don't rush to escape it. Pause and ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? Because there's always a message hidden inside every ache. Have you noticed that the most painful seasons are often the quietest? It's like heaven goes silent right when you need an answer most. You pray, nothing. You cry, nothing. You wait, and still nothing. And yet, the silence doesn't mean absence. The silence often means strategy. Think about it during an exam. The teacher is silent, not because they've left the room, but because they're testing what you've already learned. Maybe that's what your season is. Not abandonment, but assessment. Not rejection, but redirection. God doesn't need to shout when He's already given you the seed of purpose inside. The silence is simply His way of saying, "Trust what I've already told you." Here's the truth that shocks most people. God doesn't always stop the pain, because sometimes the pain is the process. If He stopped it too soon, you'd remain too small for what He's preparing you for. You asked for strength, He gave you struggle. You asked for wisdom, He gave you wounds that taught you discernment. You asked for patience, He gave you delay. You asked for faith, He gave you mountains that looked impossible to move. And in each of these, the pain wasn't the end. It was the answer in disguise. We think divine love means protection from pain, but divine love often means preparation through pain. Because God is more committed to your growth than your comfort. He won't always give you what feels good, but He'll always give you what builds you. Sometimes God lets something fall apart because He knows you wouldn't move if it didn't. We humans cling to people, to jobs, to comfort zones, even when they're no longer healthy. So, life applies pressure until you move. Think of Jonah in the belly of the fish, pressure. Joseph in prison, pressure. Moses in exile, pressure. Jesus in Gethsemane, pressure. Every divine purpose comes wrapped in discomfort. Every transformation begins with tension. When pain enters your story, it's not always punishment, it's propulsion. It's the push you refuse to give yourself. Every masterpiece goes through a process before it's revealed. The clay must be pressed before it becomes a vessel. The gold must be melted before it's pure. The seed must die before it grows. So, maybe you're not being destroyed. You're being designed. You're in the making season, the season where heaven is silent, but progress is happening behind the curtain. You might not see it, but something inside you is being fortified. Your patience, your empathy, your spiritual muscles, all being trained for the weight of your next chapter. You prayed for impact, but impact requires capacity, and capacity only comes from breaking. The most powerful moment in any pain is when you choose to trust anyway. That's when transformation happens, not when the pain ends, but when you surrender in the middle of it. Trust doesn't mean you understand it. Trust means you refuse to let bitterness interpret your story. When you stop saying, "Why me?" and start saying, "What now?" you shift from victim to victor. You stop being defined by what happened to you, and you start being defined by what's happening through you. Because the truth is, pain doesn't change your identity, it reveals it. You're not broken, you're becoming. Pain by itself is meaningless. It's your interpretation that gives it purpose. Two people can go through the same situation. One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. The difference isn't the event, it's the lens they choose to look through. If you view pain as betrayal, it poisons you. If you view pain as birth, it empowers you. The difference is perspective, and perspective is everything. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what it builds inside you. And when you decide that every pain will serve your purpose, life stops defeating you and starts defining you. Eventually, every storm runs out of rain, and when it does, you realize that you're not the same person who walked into it. You're softer but stronger. You're quieter but wiser. You've learned that peace isn't found in everything going right. It's found in knowing you'll be okay, even when things go wrong. Healing isn't forgetting what happened. It's remembering it differently, remembering it as something that shaped you, not something that ruined you. So, if you're still bleeding, keep going. Because one day, the same place that hurt you will become the place that heals others. Your scars will become someone else's survival guide. Pain is often the alarm clock of the soul. It wakes you up to what really matters: faith, love, purpose, authenticity. You start realizing that material things fade, people change, seasons end, But what stays is your spirit, your connection to the divine, your integrity, your resilience. So yes, the pain was allowed, but not to kill you. It was allowed to wake you. You were never meant to stay asleep in comfort. You were meant to awaken through challenge. Every ending carries a seed of resurrection. Every loss hides a lesson. Every delay holds a design. When you look back later, you'll see what looked like a closed door was really a redirection to something better. It's just that, in the moment, pain blinds you. But once the tears dry, vision returns, and you realize, now I understand. Because nothing is wasted. Every tear waters your future. Every heartbreak shapes your compassion. Every fall deepens your wisdom. So, why did God let the pain happen? Because He trusted you with it. He knew you'd come out wiser, stronger, more compassionate. He knew you'd use it to lift others who are now where you once were. Pain doesn't disqualify you from purpose, it often proves it. And the very thing that tried to destroy you will become your platform to inspire others. So stop asking why me and start declaring, because there's something greater being built through me. Maybe the pain didn't come to end you. Maybe it came to introduce you to your next version. And when that happens, you won't resent the pain. You'll respect it, because it taught you what comfort never could. You're not alone in this. Every person you admire has walked through some kind of fire, and the fact that you're still here, still breathing, still trying, means the story isn't over. You survived the breaking. Now comes the becoming. So take a deep breath, lift your head, and remember, God didn't let the pain happen to destroy you. He let it happen to reveal you, because the pain was never meant to end you. It was meant to wake you. If this message blessed you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss when a new video drops. And if you know someone going through a hard season, share this video with them. It might be exactly what they need right now. Drop a comment below and type, "I trust God's process." Let's fill this space with faith and strength.